Welcome everyone to Women Speakers Association's WSA TV show. I'm Laura Rubenstein, your host and producer. This is the WSA TV Women's Premiere Show, but we have a special edition because we have Charmaine Hammond in the house. Hi,
Yay!
Cheyenne.
Hi.
So great to see you here. I am so
Too.
excited because what we're doing on the first Thursday of the month is showcasing the Speaker Success Trainer of the month.
Mhm.
And if you don't already know, for everyone watching, hi, welcome. We at Women Speakers Association offer training, high-level training with experts who can help you propel your business forward and your speaking business, whether it's your presentation skills, sales skills, or marketing skills, even in book marketing skills. We are here to help you. We have tons of topics, but today, this month's topic is getting revenue from your book. Is your book working for you? Is it getting you bookings? What
Yeah.
did we say, Charmaine? Is your
Is your
book
book booking you? That's like a title of a new book, I think.
I think so. We came up with it right before this
Right
show. That's
here.
awesome. So every month we have these speaker success trainings. Is your book booking you? Is what this month is about, getting revenue from it. And then what we've now added, so you go to these trainings, right? And you get this phenomenal training, you're almost overwhelmed. How do you actually take action on it? Well, we're solving that problem with the following week offering you a results roundtable mastermind with none other than Charmaine this month. So Charmaine's coming back for a second appearance, but to guide you to take action on what she taught you the previous week. By the way, if you are a Premier member, go to the Premier members group. If you're going to attend Charmaine's training, and we hope we do, please ask any questions you want to make sure she answers for you during that, because we have a post up there. What do you want? What questions do you have that she can answer? So this is a high content training. It is not just a pitch. It is, you're going to get actionable steps. I've been on so many trainings with Charmaine. I can say this without a doubt. You will get more than you could ever imagine, first of all. And just, Charmaine, I'd like to introduce you a little bit and give
Thank
people a
you.
little sense of who you are in the world, other than a phenomenal person that I know you to be,
Oh,
an expert. But you are really an expert in collaboration and sponsorships. Okay, that's a key word. Not many people talk about it, but they always want sponsorships. And I know you're a 5-time international best-selling author. You help people make their book a business, sell their books in bulk, create a circle of collaboration, partners that help launch your books and fund your book events. So welcome. Maybe you
thank
can fill
you.
us, yes, you're welcome. So welcome, and maybe you can fill us in on a little bit more background, filling in any blanks I may have missed in that
Sure.
intro.
Sure. Well, as you said, a 5-time author, and I'm featured in several collaborative books as well, which is so amazing. One of those is WSA Publishing, and just what I love about collaborative books is there's this whole community. And when I was writing my own books, you kind of on your own. I've really enjoyed that opportunity to be part of a collaborative book and to work with these incredible WSA speakers and authors. And speaking is a big part of my business model. And when the books, so my core business is actually speaking and training, and I do that corporately. And then we opened up Raise a Dream, which is what you were talking about earlier, Laura, about the sponsorship and collaboration. And we teach authors and speakers how to fund their projects, whether that is an unpaid speaking engagement, which we know you get lots of requests as a speaker. We'd love to have you, and there's no budget. Sponsorship is one way to actually secure speaking fees. But better than that, it can also fund your speaking tours. And of course, with a book, it can also help you sell your books in bulk and create exceptional book events where your message gets out there in a much bigger way through collaboration and other people's funds helping you pay for this.
It's so amazing that there's so many opportunities out there that people haven't even thought about. And I learned so much from you every time even you mention ways to use your book and sponsorships. So maybe share a little story with us about how you've helped somebody through this process, and maybe even
Awesome.
your own story about that.
Great. Well, you and I were talking offline about why it's so important to read your speaker contracts well in advance of a speaking engagement. I signed a speaking engagement a year ago, and it's a full fee engagement. And in there, I included copies of my book. It's an audience of about 300 people. So I included copies of my new book, Working Better Together, which a year ago I thought I will have this done no problem. And I was looking at the contract a couple of weeks ago, and was reminded that I have a book to get out in time for this contract. So that's a funny story, and just a tip to remember to always read your contracts long before the event. But what was really beautiful out of this is it kicked me into action, because I was just putting off finding other things to be busy with and not getting the book done. And what I ended up creating is a desktop guide. So a smaller version is what I'm handing out at this conference, and the bigger version comes out in 2 months. So that was kind of a really interesting exercise to actually create two products. So one is almost like a manual or a desktop guide that will support the book that's coming out. And the reason I raise that is that for authors, there are so many ways to generate revenue around your book. Speaking is one of those. And there's many things you can do to include your book as a speaking part of your speaking fee, to use it as a form of sponsorship. But there's also many other products you can create around your book, whether it's a workbook, whether it's having your book available in other formats like audio. I've seen people do videos of their book and online courses that wrap around their book. And I think when you look at your book in that way, not just as a single product, but actually part of a much bigger picture, that's when your book becomes very lucrative and not only generates you revenue, but I think what I hear from a lot of speakers and authors is they want their message to get in the hands and the ears of readers around the world. And these are some ways to do that.
And I know you're going to be talking a ton about that on the Speaker
Mm,
Success Training.
yep.
So I just wanted to pop in and mention that the Speaker Success Training is the full training that we're offering to our Premier members next week on
Mhm.
speakersuccesstraining.com. If you are not a Premier member, you can still access it. You can purchase it there at speakersuccesstraining.com. So and you're going to be going over a ton of information about how you can do things like, okay, build this bigger picture of
Yeah.
a business around your book, right?
Yeah.
Or make it if you're just, I've had people, and Charmaine, maybe you can speak to this. I've had people who came to me, clients, and said, I have a book and I want to make money just selling my book.
Yeah.
And I almost cringe because I'm like, you're missing out on so much more that you can do. And trying to just sell a book takes a lot of time and money and doesn't always necessarily bring you the revenue you want. But when you think of
Mhm.
it in a bigger picture, you can be making a windfall, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I was sharing with you, our amazing leader, Gail, sent me over this wonderful. I just want to read this because it really puts it into context about how important what we're talking about right now really is, Laura, for authors. And of course, it won't open. Here it is. So the comment was that the average author, put your seatbelts on, everyone, for this, because there's bad news and there's really good news. So according to a report from Amazon, they're saying that the average published author, self-published, I'm sorry, the average self-published author is selling 250 books. And that's a quote I've been using for a long time. It's pretty standard in the industry. And if you think about 250 books, that's not a lot to pay your mortgage and everything. It's certainly not planning anybody's retirement. Now, published authors, the average published author sells no more than 2,000 books. So again, that's not going to pay anyone's retirement. And also 2,000 books, um, it may not get your message around the world in the way that you want to get your message out. And most of the books do not turn a profit for authors. So it's basically cost recovery. And about 62 out of 1,000 titles sell more than 5,000 copies. And that's why we put together this program, and why I'm so excited about the class next week is that we're going to look at strategies to turn those numbers upside down. And, I think the most beautiful part of writing a book is that your message that needs to be in the hands and the ears, if you're doing an audio version, it needs to get out there in multiple ways. And Laura, you were talking about, you speak to authors who just want to sell lots of their book. And the piece that's missing is not everybody reads books. It's true. Not everyone reads books. I go to the gym and I see all kinds of people who are listening to books, or they want to hear the author speak. So you really want to look at all the different ways that you can generate energy around your book and get your book out there in multiple formats. And for those of you that are speakers, there's some beautiful ways to combine both of those.
Yeah, and it may not be ways you've ever thought about, right? I know
Yeah.
I've heard you speak before. So walk us through, what will people be getting out of the February 12th event, that they can attend this training?
One of the things I will promise to talk about, it's one of my favorite things to talk about, is how to do a BOGO, buy one, gift one. This is a story. I learned this from another author, Joanne Basing, years ago. We were talking about doing book signings. And for those of you that are speakers and authors that have done a book signing, know that it can be a really long day when nobody's coming to your table. And then at the end of the day, you sell what, 8 books, and 5 of them were to family and friends that already have 10 copies. And so we were talking about, how do we get our message out there and sell more books? And we created, through our conversation, buy one, gift one. So you encourage the audience to actually buy 2 books, one that they keep and one that gets donated to charity. So I'm going to talk about the model around how to really leverage that. It works. And we have students in our Your Book as a Business program that are using that, and it works. But the best part is, more people get the impact of your message and you support charity. So we're going to talk about, what does that model look like? How do you set it up? And then how do you just duplicate it over and over and over again so it's easy and downstream? And then we'll also talk about something called bulk buys. A lot of energy goes into selling your books one at a time. And I don't sell my books one at a time anymore, unless I need to. Typically, I sell them by the set of 10, or better yet, by the box, or better yet, by the trunk load. And we'll talk about some of the strategies that you can do that, and how to blend speaking into your book. So how your book supports you in getting booked for speaking, and how your speaking can sell more books.
Woohoo! That is hot.
Woohoo!
I can't wait. Oh my gosh. There's so much to learn from you. And you didn't even mention sponsorships.
I know we're going to talk a little bit about sponsorships, because sponsorship is really the end result of a collaboration. And we'll talk about, where does sponsorship fit into this book side of the model. And when we talk about books, we always talk about speaking too. So you'll see that there's some real connects, and sponsorship is really a fantastic way to use your exceptional skills in building relationships with people and fund some of the projects that are really dear and near to your heart.
Yeah, and that's another way. I mean, like the three ways you first talked about, then the sponsorships. Wow, I'm seeing a waterfall of revenue opportunities here with a book that, it's like, oh, I could have had a V8, if I only
Yeah.
knew this and I had a plan and I had someone keeping me accountable to it, right? And we're
Yes.
going to be doing that starting with speaker success training next week
Yeah.
with you, and then on to the results roundtable, and there may be other opportunities as well. So I am thrilled that you're doing this for the Women Speakers Association. And I know you're a part of the Voices of the 21st Century book.
Yes.
Everyone who's a part of that book is benefiting from that. So even if you're not yet an author, there's an opportunity here with Women Speakers
Mm-hmm.
Association to benefit from being an author, and then being able to use that book by using and taking your training
Yeah.
next week. And remember, it's free for you Premier members, and it's a nominal fee for anyone else. So please join us at speakersuccesstraining.com if you want to find out how to be a member and get the trainings 24/7 and replays and all that, and the results roundtable, because the results roundtable is only open to the Premier members. And
Mm-hmm.
remember, maybe Charmaine, you can tell us a little bit about what that experience will be like when they join you after the training.
Yeah, that's when we really want to dive in deep and look at, so the folks that are in that part, we're going to look really deeply at your model in terms of your book and your speaking, and be very focused on strategy. But the other piece is very focused on implementation. I know that a lot of authors, and I am so guilty of this myself, we can get wrapped up in the excitement of planning and creating and never implement. And so that whole piece of having support and creating a strategy that is doable and easy and something you can implement, we're going to be talking about that. And then the other piece is to really start to have conversations around thinking about your business differently, because I see what a lot of authors doing, what I did when I first wrote my first book. And I sort of had my book over here and then my speaking over here, and I was trying to keep everything separate, and it didn't work. It actually created a lot of challenge for me. And honestly, it created a ton of brand confusion. And that's one of the conversations we'll be having as well. How do you make your book just a part of who you are as a speaker? It's part of the amazing things that you do and the amazing products that you have to offer.
Woo-hoo, this is so robust. I am like chomping at the bit. I bet everybody else watching is like, cannot wait. And it's a good thing. It's only a week away.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait.
It's great. And so check it out. If you're a Premier member, it'll be in the back end of your Premier membership area. You'll be getting emails on it, how to register for the Zoom link. If you're not yet and you want to join, go to joinwsa.com, join. Or if you want to just check us out for this one training, that would be at speakersuccesstraining.com. It's in the comments here at Facebook. And for those of you who are watching this replay, we hope you do join us. If you are a Premier member, you missed it, you can always go back to the replay of it. The Results Roundtable is a one-time, very, we're going to be a community. We're working collaboratively together. So hopefully you'll join us for that as well, or the next one. But I wanted to ask you a couple more questions about your topic of your book bringing in revenue, about what are the most common questions people ask you that you're going to probably be addressing.
Wow. So one of the common questions I get from people is around what's the model look like to include my book as speaking? Like, do I increase my speaking fee? Do I just add it in? How do I get a room of 300 people to have my book if I'm only being paid an honorarium? And that's a common question. And there's a number of different strategies that work, and we'll talk about that. Another question I get asked is around, how do I sell my books corporately? And this doesn't mean that your book has to be a training book. I'll give you an example. My very first book, On Toby's Terms, is a book about my dog. It's a memoir. It's a story about how this dog changed my life and helped me become a better person. It's not a corporate training book. I mean, there's a dog's face on the front of the book. So clearly not a corporate book. I have had so many corporations buy that book in massive bulk quantities for Christmas gifts for their employees, for employee recognition, to donate to their favorite charities. And so it's really thinking big. And a lot of times we often just look at our book and who seems to be the obvious audience, the reader. And it's important to remember that that reader belongs to other groups, are connected to affiliations, they work somewhere. So how do we ripple that out and sell our book in bulk to corporations? And that's becoming a more common question than, say, 2 years ago. And I guess the other question is, people are frank about it. They say, how do I make money for my book? I spent a lot of time and a lot of energy and money putting this book together. How do I actually generate revenue from it? Like, what does that model look like besides sitting at book fairs and book signings, which generally don't produce a lot of income? What does the rest of that look like?
I love it. It's going to be great. Thank you for addressing the questions that most people have. And also what I'm hearing is questions that you should be asking. Like, what are the other groups that your author, that your readers belong to, that could be a market for you? So you're really helping authors and speakers think like book marketers.
Exactly.
What a concept, right?
Yeah, totally.
And in a way that's so generous and value-based, because that's what your book is. It's a piece of valuable content. And I am all about content marketing. So any way you can use content to generate revenue is a better play than trying to sell something. Like, just say, hey, well, come to our speaker success training. Well, yeah, but look what you got today in just this little interview. Did you get 3 or 4 ideas already, people? I think so. Let us know if you did. Okay. And also we're offering another option here, is two options. Anybody who's a Premier member, go to the Premier member group. And if any questions are coming to mind about this topic, Charmaine, are you okay if they put it in that?
Oh, please.
Okay. Yeah. So Charmaine will custom design the training to answer your questions. All right. And she's really good at it. So I know there's not a question you can't answer or find the answer to. I know, because I've asked you tough questions before. So in the Premier member group, there is a post that will guide you and offer you a way for you to be able to ask your questions, and then Charmaine's in that group. She'll see them and answer them for you. It's so cool. I love it. And then the second thing, of course, is the results roundtable, which is on the 19th. And so you'll get a link once you sign up for the success. If you're a premier member, once you sign up for the speaker success training with Charmaine, you'll get a link to sign up for the results roundtable where you'll take that deeper dive.
Right.
Is there something you want to leave people with today on?
I always hear from authors and speakers, there's so much to do, and where do I start? And I feel overwhelmed. And my answer would be one little step. And that's been where I look back on my journey and where I've had the most success. It's where I have taken one little step every single day instead of going full force and having all this energy spent on strategy and implementation and then nothing for 4 months. So little steps create really good and big outcomes.
Yeah. So if you've gotten just one little idea from today or big idea, take one little step on it. If you're still like wondering what that one little step is and you want the next step, join us next week with Charmaine on the Speaker Success Roundtable, February 12th, 2020. And if you're hearing this for the first time, speakersuccesstraining.com is where you can sign up for it before February 12th. If you're past February 12th, then, well, go to joinwsa.com, become a member because the replay is there. Okay. All right. We'll see you there, Charmaine. Thank you so much. And bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.